Hey guys, Josh here. I wanted to share with you some routines, some tips and tricks that I have in place in my business that have really helped me manage my projects, keep on top of my email, have helped me keep some happy clients, and have ultimately helped me run and take control of my business. Over the past almost 7 years of owning In Transit Studios, I learned a lot of these lessons the hard way, and so I want to share with you some tips and tricks that have helped me when it comes to time management and just taking control of my business to make sure that I'm running my business and the business is not running me. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. I want to share with you, first of all, my daily routine that I try to stick to every day. And I'm going to give you some tips and tricks of things that I've learned that have really helped me when it comes to managing email and meetings and calls and things like that. But by way of preface, I do want to say that one thing I started this year is when I wake up in the mornings, I do not look at a screen for generally at least the first half an hour of the day. What this has allowed me to do is to give my mind time to kind of warm up and wake up without diving right into Facebook or email or things like that. What I'll do is I'll generally read a real book for a little while, and I give myself some time. You might call this priming or meditation or whatever name you choose to give it. It's time to just think about the day, to kind of figure out the main things that I want to accomplish. And having this little segment of usually anywhere between a half an hour and an hour has really helped me prepare for the day and has helped me kind of get me ready to take on the day. So with that said, let's dive into my daily routine. So when I start the day, I dive right into my email and some administrative work to try to get that off my plate. Now I know a lot of people don't like to do administrative work and email first thing, but for me, I have a lot of creative work and problem solving work, and if I know I have some emails to get to, a lot of times that will kind of be in the back of my mind and I'll have trouble focusing on creative work. So first part of the day, which lasts anywhere between a half an hour to an hour, I generally try to get as many emails that I can out the door and client communication, things like that. Now, before I tell you more about kind of my main daily routine, I will say that I generally limit myself to 2 to 3 main projects per day. So once I'm done with my email in the morning, I'll dive right into this first segment, which I would kind of put in as a project 1. So project 1 for me might include laying out the home page of a website, maybe a logo design or something like that that takes a lot of creativity and is going to generally take a decent amount of time. So this window, this segment will usually be between maybe an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, and I'll dedicate to this, just what I'm working on. Now, what's cool about this is once I get my email out of the way, I'll generally turn my email off, or sometimes I'll put my phone in airplane mode so I do not get distracted during this segment 1. That way I have full attention devoted to this project. Once I'm done with that segment, I'll go into another round of emails, invoicing, and administrative work before I head out to lunch. After I get back from lunch, I'll dive into my segment 2, big chunk of the day, which again, I'll turn my email off. A lot of times I'll turn my phone on airplane mode so I'm not distracted and I can get some real productive, meaningful work done. And again, this will usually last between an hour and a half, 2 hours, to where I can get a bulk of some good creative work done. Now, the thing I want to share with you next is probably the most important and beneficial thing that I've started doing recently, and that is to have a little segment that's saved for reactionary work or unplanned work. In my business with web design, a lot of times I get hit up from clients asking about, emails being down or technical problems on their website and things like that. Years ago, those kind of emails would distract me the whole day, and I would find myself very quickly in a support position, just answering emails and getting to those things. Well, now I have this block of time, usually at least around an hour, set to where I have it planned for unplanned work and reactionary work that I can get to. So if a client emails me at 10 a.m. and says, hey, there's a widget down on my site, I know that I can get to that here in a few hours and get it resolved instead of pushing my creative work to the side. So once I get done with my reactionary time, I'll dive into more email wrap-ups and just kind of wrap things up for the day. And if I don't have any reactionary work, if I don't have any unplanned work I don't need to do, then I can continue on with more of my creative work. So sticking to this daily routine has been huge in helping me stay on top of all my projects. Generally, I'm managing anywhere between 10 and 15, sometimes upwards of 20 and 25 projects, all large, small, different shapes and sizes, and a lot of those projects have kind of mini projects inside them. So time management has been crucial for me to keep my clients happy, and some things I wanted to share with you. Now, one thing that's great about having a daily routine like this to stick to is that, let's say I have meetings in the morning, I can just dive into the second part of the daily routine. So if I get back at noon, I'll dive into my emails, and I'll have one big segment of creative work, things like that, but I'll still have some time for reactionary work and email wrap-ups and things like that. So that's my daily routine that I try to stick to. It's really helped me. Hopefully that benefits you and encourages and inspires you to do something similar. Let me give you guys some additional quick tips and things that I wanted to share with you as well. When it comes to scheduling calls and meetings, one thing that's really helped me and what I want to recommend to you is to give your potential client or lead a few options. So you might give them 2 or 3 times to choose from. So for example, instead of saying, hey, are you free for a call next week? Say, hey, are you free to talk maybe next Tuesday at 11 a.m. or 2 p.m. or Thursday at noon? What this does is this will alleviate numerous email threads, because if you say, hey, are you free next week? They say, yeah, I am free. You say, okay, when's good for you? They say, oh, well, when's good for you? You say, well, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, but they say, oh, maybe Thursday or Friday. You can very quickly see how you can get into an 8, 9, 10 email thread and a lot of wasted time doing that. So if you give them some options to choose from, you can do this for calls and meetings. I found this very beneficial, and 9 times out of 10, that person's going to pick one of those times, and it can really help save you some time. Also want to give you an idea on meeting days. So for me, I generally do my meetings Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I found that, at least for web design, my clients on Mondays are thinking about their own work, getting their own to-dos in order, and they don't want to think about their own website strategy or content or things like that. And then on the flip side, the end of the week, on Fridays, by noon, most people are checked out and planning out the weekend. So I found that my best meeting days are Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And generally I limit myself to no more than 2 meeting days per week. And that allows me to stick to my daily routine and really kind of get the creative work and most productive money-making work that I need to get done. So that's really helped me. And again, I know we're not all in the same industry. Realtors, for example, are meeting with a lot of different people throughout the day, but these are things that I think can still help you. And if at all possible, try to stick to a few meeting days that really help you. That way you know Mondays are my day to get stuff done, and the rest of the days are reserved for clients. Number 3, I want to share with you some ideas on email filters. One thing that's really beneficial is when you have so many different emails coming in. I know that's kind of the main struggle that we all face these days, is how to manage our email. And if you're anything like me, I do not like to have that little red dot that shows me I have emails on my email app. I like to try to get that down to 0, and generally by the end of the day, most of my emails are taken care of. So one thing that's helped me to do that is to set up email filters. So one thing you can do is, if you might have an email filter for new leads, you might have an email filter for current clients that you need to get back to, maybe one for subscriptions, one for technical things. If you have a way to manage these different emails, it can really help you manage your email instead of going in there and just seeing 80 emails with all this jumbled information. So maybe setting up email filters is a good option for you to be able to reallocate those emails and different information and manage those better. This is particularly important if you have a team. If you have multiple people using a Gmail account, for example, you might not know if they checked an email, or maybe certain emails are supposed to go to certain people. So email filters are a great way to go when it comes to managing your email. And then finally, I want to share the idea of maybe using a daily planner. Now, what this has helped me out really with is to be able to take care of the quick emails and quick calls and things like that I don't want to have in my calendar. Or sometimes if I tell Siri, remind me to call so-and-so tomorrow at 10, well, if I'm on the phone with another client at 10 and I don't get a chance to get back with them right away, I might forget about that lead or forget about that reminder. So one thing that I have, and I'll place this in the show notes below, I have this it's called Action Day Planner. It's on Amazon. It's like $20, but this has been really beneficial for me. I put all of my little quick email reminders, things like that in here. I have the main things I want to get done in a day I can jot here, and I have my main project goals for the week right here. So this has really helped me just keep track of things. If I don't want to have it in my calendar on my computer, I can just set it in here. And again, if somebody calls me, I can't get to them, I can say, just remind me to call somebody right here, and I can check that off. This has really helped me keep track of those kind of things that have helped me with my business. So I hope you guys have enjoyed my quick tips and my daily routine that I hope helps you out. Again, I realize that we're not all in the same industry. We don't all work from home, but I think having a pretty strict daily routine that you're disciplined to try to stick to will really help. And some of these quick tips have, again, really just been life-changing for me in my business. So I hope they help. I would love to hear some feedback. Till next time, guys.